Welcome to our journey through the complete history of Greece, a land steeped in rich traditions and monumental achievements that have shaped the very foundations of modern civilization. From the birth of democracy in Athens to the philosophical musings of Socrates and Plato, Greece's ancient civilizations have left an indelible mark on art, science, and governance. In this documentary, we'll delve into the fascinating tapestry of Greek history, exploring the rise and fall of powerful city-states, the epic tales of gods and heroes, and the cultural innovations that continue to influence our lives today. Join us as we uncover the stories behind iconic landmarks like the Parthenon and the ruins of Delphi, and meet the remarkable figures who dared to dream beyond their time. Get ready to be captivated by the legacy of Greece, a civilization that not only shaped its own destiny, but also laid the groundwork for the world we know today. The influence of Greece's landscape on ancient civilizations. Greece's geographical features played a pivotal role in shaping its ancient civilizations. The country is characterized by its rugged mountainous terrain, which not only provided natural fortifications, but also led to the development of independent city-states, each with its own unique culture and governance. This isolation fostered a spirit of competition and innovation among the Greeks, fueling advancements in art, philosophy, and politics. Additionally, Greece's extensive coastline and access to the Aegean Sea facilitated trade and cultural exchange with neighboring regions. The Peloponnese, a prominent peninsula, became a hub for commerce and military power, while the Aegean Islands served as vital trade routes connecting Greece to the wider Mediterranean world. These geographical features also influenced warfare strategies, as naval power became essential for dominance. The interplay of mountains and sea not only shaped the physical landscape, but also the very essence of Greek identity, creating a rich tapestry of interconnected cultures and histories that continue to resonate today. The Minoan Civilization, flourishing on the island of Crete from approximately 3000 to 1450 BC, stands as one of Europe's earliest advanced societies. Renowned for its vibrant culture, the Minoans excelled in art and architecture, creating stunning frescoes that depicted daily life, nature, and religious rituals. Their architectural marvel, the Palace of Knossos, serves as a testament to their ingenuity, featuring complex layouts, advanced plumbing systems, and intricate frescoes that reveal a society deeply connected to its environment. Archaeological findings at Knossos, including storage rooms filled with pottery and tools, highlight the Minoans' sophisticated economy and social structure. These discoveries suggest a society that valued trade and cultural exchange, as the Minoans established extensive trade networks across the Mediterranean. They exchanged goods such as pottery, textiles, and precious metals, influencing neighboring cultures and spreading their artistic styles. The Minoan civilization not only laid the groundwork for future Greek societies, but also left an enduring legacy that continues to captivate historians and archaeologists alike. Mycenaean Civilization, pioneers of Greek history. The Mycenaean Civilization, emerging around 1600 BCE and flourishing until approximately 1100 BCE, played a crucial role in shaping Greek history. Known for their impressive palatial structures and fortified cities, the Mycenaeans established a complex society that laid the groundwork for later Greek culture. Their rise was marked by military prowess and extensive trade networks, but the civilization ultimately fell into decline, possibly due to invasions and internal strife, paving the way for the Greek Dark Ages. The Dark Ages, a transitional period in Greek history. The Dark Ages in Greece, spanning roughly from 1100 to 800 BC, marked a significant decline following the fall of the Mycenaean civilization. This era was characterized by a dramatic loss of literacy and the collapse of complex societal structures, leading to a more fragmented and rural way of life. The once thriving trade networks diminished, and many of the grand palatial centers were abandoned, resulting in a cultural stagnation that left little written record. Despite these challenges, the Dark Ages also fostered important cultural and social changes. Communities began to reorganize, leading to the emergence of new city-states or polis, which would later become the foundation of classical Greek civilization. This period saw the development of oral traditions, including epic poetry, which preserved the stories and values of the past. As the Dark Ages transitioned into the Archaic Period around 800 BCE, Greece began to experience a resurgence in trade, art, and political organization, setting the stage for the remarkable achievements of classical Greece that would follow. The Archaic Period, the rise of city-states and cultural flourishing. The Archaic Period, spanning from approximately 800 to 500 BCE, was a transformative era in ancient Greece marked by the rise of city-states, or polii, such as Athens and Sparta. Each city-state developed its own governance system. Athens embraced democracy, allowing citizens to participate in decision-making, while Sparta established a militaristic oligarchy focused on discipline and strength. Culturally, this period witnessed significant advancements, including the introduction of coinage, which revolutionized trade and commerce, and the adoption of the alphabet, enhancing literacy and communication. These innovations laid the groundwork for a more interconnected society. The Archaic Period also saw the inception of the Olympic Games in 776 BCE, a unifying event that celebrated athletic prowess and fostered a sense of shared Greek identity among the diverse city-states. Athletes from various regions competed in these games, promoting peace and camaraderie. Overall, the Archaic Period set the stage for the cultural and political developments that would define classical Greece, shaping its legacy for centuries to come. The Classical Period, spanning from the 5th to the 4th century BC, represents the height of Greek civilization, marked by extraordinary cultural achievements in philosophy, art, and science. This era produced towering intellectual figures like Socrates, who challenged conventional wisdom, and his student Plato, whose works laid the foundation for Western philosophy. Their ideas continue to influence thought and education today. Politically, the period was defined by the Peloponnesian War, a protracted conflict between the democratic city-state of Athens and militaristic Sparta. This war not only showcased the complexities of Greek politics, but also led to significant shifts in power dynamics, ultimately resulting in the decline of Athenian dominance. Architecturally, classical Greece is renowned for its monumental structures, with the Parthenon standing as a symbol of Athenian glory and artistic achievement. This temple, dedicated to the goddess Athena, exemplifies the principles of symmetry and harmony that define classical architecture. The legacy of this period continues to resonate, shaping modern philosophy, politics, and art. The Hellenistic period, following the conquest of Alexander the Great in the 4th century BC, marked a significant expansion of Greek culture and influence across the Mediterranean and Near East. As Alexander established his vast empire, he facilitated the exchange of ideas, art, and traditions, leading to a rich cultural fusion that blended Greek and local elements. This era was also characterized by remarkable advancements in science and philosophy. Scholars and thinkers flourished in cities like Alexandria, which became a hub of intellectual activity. The period saw the emergence of new philosophical schools, including Stoicism and Epicureanism, which explored ethics and the nature of happiness. Key figures such as Archimedes made groundbreaking contributions to mathematics and engineering, developing principles of buoyancy and levers that are still foundational today. His inventions, including the Archimedean screw, revolutionized irrigation and mechanics. The Hellenistic period not only expanded the reach of Greek culture, but also laid the groundwork for future scientific and philosophical developments, leaving an enduring legacy that shaped the course of Western civilization. The Roman conquest of Greece, completed by 146 BCE, marked a significant turning point in the region's history as it became a vital part of the Roman Empire. While the conquest brought political changes and military control, it also initiated a complex process of cultural exchange and adaptation. The Romans admired Greek art, architecture, and philosophy, leading to the integration of these elements into their own society. Greek culture was not only preserved, but also adapted within the Roman framework. The Romans adopted Greek gods, literature, and artistic styles, blending them with their own traditions. This cultural fusion enriched Roman life and contributed to the empire's identity. Moreover, the Greek language and philosophy played a crucial role in Roman education. Greek became the language of the educated elite, and philosophical teachings from figures like Plato and Aristotle were foundational in shaping Roman thought. This emphasis on Greek intellectual heritage ensured that, even under Roman rule, the essence of Greek civilization continued to thrive, influencing generations to come. The cultural legacy of ancient Greece is profound and continues to shape Western civilization in numerous ways. Greek philosophy, with thinkers like Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle, laid the groundwork for critical thinking and ethical inquiry, influencing modern philosophy, political theory, and education. Their ideas about democracy, particularly the Athenian model, have inspired democratic movements worldwide, emphasizing the importance of civic participation and individual rights. In the realm of art, Greek aesthetics set standards for beauty and proportion that resonate in contemporary architecture, sculpture, and painting. The principles of symmetry and harmony established by ancient artists remain foundational in artistic education today. Moreover, ancient Greek literature, from epic poems like the Iliad and Odyssey to dramatic works by playwrights such as Sophocles and Euripides, continues to shape modern storytelling. Themes of heroism, tragedy, and morality are prevalent in contemporary narratives. Finally, Greek mythology endures in popular culture, influencing literature, film, and art, as timeless tales of gods and heroes continue to captivate audiences, reflecting humanity's quest for understanding and meaning. Reflecting on Greece's enduring legacy. In this documentary, we've journeyed through the rich tapestry of Greece's history, from the early Minoan and Mycenaean civilizations to the heights of classical Greece and the transformative Hellenistic period. We explored the rise of city-states, the profound contributions of philosophers like Socrates and Plato, and the cultural fusion that occurred during Roman conquest. Each era has left an indelible mark on Western civilization, influencing our philosophy, art, governance, and storytelling. Understanding Greece's history is crucial, as it provides valuable lessons about democracy, cultural exchange, and the resilience of human thought. The echoes of ancient Greece remind us of the importance of critical inquiry and the pursuit of knowledge in our own lives. We hope this exploration has inspired you to reflect on the legacies of ancient civilizations and their relevance today. If you enjoyed this journey through history, please subscribe, like, and share this video for more engaging content on ancient history. Together, let's continue to uncover the stories that shaped our world.